You don't need anybody's permission to do anything or achieve anything that you want to. And it is my humble opinion that it should be normalized for people to be consistently practicing ways to make themselves better physically, mentally, and dare I say spiritually.
To live your life is mastered by.
And I want to hear that again.
The way to live your life is mastered by your own self.
So just a little while ago, I finished one of the not so subliminal recordings talking about Morihei Ueshiba, Miyamoto Musashi, the Bushido Shoshinsu, and this understanding of, and also haiku and the Japanese death poems that are the haiku, and how, for one, I'll start off with and lead into that with one of the things I first said, which is that you don't need permission and shouldn't be seeking permission to achieve anything. So, a couple examples that I have of that are, one is more recently and has more to do with an intellectual and academic pursuit, and that is with the current research and study of artificial intelligence, specifically generative AI. And one of the things that I recently did with generative AI was a project in building a fundamentals of generative AI course. And so it has 4 modules with 2 lessons in each module. And it was built off of asking ChatGPT and, well, Nova's AI that has ChatGPT as one of its bots, and first giving it a prompt for an outline of a fundamentals of generative AI course. And from that actually came from because I had just probably hours before that received a certificate from Databricks, which was the Databricks generative AI fundamentals. And so once I looked at what that course entailed, and I got really excited from what I learned about it, mainly because a lot of it made a great deal of sense to me. And so because of that, then I said, okay, well, I want to make a course, something like this. That would be interesting to see if I could own a course myself of generative AI. And the only way that I would do that is either I could buy one or I could build one, right? So I decided to build one, and I started with that outline. So then following the outline, I then spent 12 hours non-stop working with ChatGPT in the Nova AI bot. The Nova AI has a what do you call it? Right now I'm just going to use the word collection, but they have a suite. Yeah, it's a bot suite, right? A suite of different bots. There's from Claude, Sonnet, there's Anthropic, there's ChatGPT, there's 3, there's 4, there's 4.0, and a couple of other ones that I'm not sure about right now. But so I then spent 12 hours straight with my website open, posting on the blog page, also recording live into the podcast, and then simultaneously prompting the ChatGPT bot to create content for each one of the lessons within each module. So basically, I created 8 lessons in 4 modules, and it took me a while to do that, to edit it, to write it out, to put the recordings with it of me. Basically, I just went live with me recording the whole thing, right? So I didn't ask anybody's permission. I didn't say, hey, am I qualified to write a course on the fundamentals of generative AI? Especially not with the tools we have now, right? It would have taken me a lot longer if I didn't have those bots. Right? It would take me a lot longer to organize those ideas that I had learned from Databricks and then create my own course. But I had the GPT bots to help me to create that. So I didn't wait. I didn't wait for anybody's permission to do that. So now the other thing about that goes much earlier, which is me years ago, back in 2004. In 2004, I decided that I wanted to start teaching kickboxing. And so, because they made more starting off than I was as a personal trainer. And that was just one of my motivations. First of all, I enjoyed kickboxing. I've been doing martial arts for a long time, but I wanted to get paid for it. And so one day, after working with a personal training client, we walked into this room that I called the forest of heavy bags. And she went in there, she used the water fountain, and I, confirmed that when we were going to have our next session and said goodbye. And there were people standing around in the room. And there were people standing around in the room. Oh, this looks so different. So there were people standing around, and so I said, hey, what's going on here? They said, a kickboxing class. And I said, well, actually, you're just standing around. They said, well, our teacher's not here yet, so we're waiting for the instructor. I said, without hesitation, mind you, I don't know where this comes from, right? So without hesitation, well, do you mind if I teach until he gets here? I said, no, I want to do our class. So I started teaching the kickboxing class, constantly looking at the door, wondering when the teacher was going to come, and guess what? He never showed up. So the instructor never showed up, and I got to teach an entire kickboxing class. So, and I even stayed a couple minutes late to make it for the 9 minutes that he wasn't there. And the group fitness manager, his name was Anthony at the time, he was so thankful because, it's his job to make sure that people get the classes. That's one of the main reasons why people were paying for their membership at that particular gym, is because they just had non-stop classes going on throughout the whole day. And so he was so thankful for that I filled in and made sure those people, especially it was a big class, there were probably like 35 to 40 people in that class. And he was so thankful that I didn't let all those people down, that he put me on the sub list to teach classes. And so then, it just like magic, just like my luck, I put myself in that position, right? One of the boxing instructors needed to take off to do something. So Anthony came to me and said, hey, can you teach boxing? And I was just thinking to myself, yeah, it's just kickboxing without kicks. And so then I got to sub that class. And then one day he asked, do you teach yoga by any chance? And I lied and said, yes, I did. And I went and bought a yoga DVD, watched some yoga videos, went to a couple of yoga classes, put together my own sequence, and then went and taught the class and became known as one of the best yoga teachers that was ever at that establishment. I don't know about all yoga teachers in general, but everybody loved me there. And I did that for mat Pilates, and then I started teaching. And then, see, at that point, I got asked. So the first one I just stepped in and did. The second one I got asked to do, the boxing class. The third one I got asked to do was the yoga. The fourth one I got asked to do was mat Pilates. Then I started asking. By this time I'm teaching all these formats. So then I went up and started saying, hey, I can teach firm fusion. I can teach boot camp. I can teach kids karate. and just became this professional sub that at one point in time, it got to the point where I was teaching more classes than people who had regular classes on the schedule, just by saying yes whenever someone said that they needed one of their classes subbed. So I was teaching yoga, mat Pilates, boxing, kickboxing, boot camp, all that stuff, and was just busy throughout the whole week. And again, you see, the whole idea there is that I didn't wait. I didn't wait for anybody's permission to say I can do this. I knew that there was a logical way to figure out how to do these things, and so I just went ahead and figured it out. Because part of it was professionally. I had to earn money, so I just did that. Now, those examples are clear enough. I mean, I don't have to go on and on about that, but what I was talking about the second time about it is that it's related to a certain level of not having any fear. And being a martial artist and studying martial arts for a long time, you know, my favorite thing to look at as a kid were ninja movies. And of course, you know, ninjas, the myth comes from Japan. And of course, you know, you start studying Japan, you start learning about samurai, and you know, the whole story about how samurai are, you know, like the enemy of ninja and all this other stuff like that. So you learn a lot about that. So I learned about the Bushido Shoshinsu, you know, the samurai's code, the code of the warrior, about Miyamoto Musashi, about Morihei Ueshiba, who developed Aikido, and about Japanese death poems, because I'm also a writer and reader, and I found Japanese death poems in a Borders bookstore that I had worked at the time. And one of the things I realized is that they felt that as long as they were in noble pursuit, as long as they were, and I'm using the definition of success from Earl Nightingale, it's the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. As long as they were progressively realizing worthy ideals, there was no fear of death at all. And what a lot of things that go along with that is that you can't be bribed, you can't be intimidated, no one can stop you from doing anything, you have no fear, you're not an imposter, you're a doer, you're successfully living your life because you're progressively realizing worthy ideals. And I think right there, that's a very good way to look at our pursuits and activities, is in this form of progressive realization of worthy ideals, knowing that as long as you're going ahead in life and you're not just existing. You know, the worst thing to do would be going around trying to fuck people over and screw people over all the time, right? You know, just above that is, you know, just living neutral and staying out of people's way, and, you know, and just getting by but not really doing much. And I think that the better part of that is progressively realizing worthy ideals and then sharing that with people, because you know that by sharing that with others can progress as well. So that's where that comes from.
Oh, that's true. Let me check if we have more in the bag.
Okay.
How many bags?
1. So that idea is something that's been very important to me for a long time. It's the progressive realization of a worthy idea. I just found something that, orange ginger. I'm gonna check out this. So I think that's it. Right now, that's the note that I wanted to put on that is, you know, don't wait for permission. You can pretty much do whatever you want, of course, within reason. I'm not talking about people going out there and, you know, trying to be brain surgeons and do like Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Catch Me If You Can. You know, although if any of that was really true, you can see that, like things like, for example, I mean, it's possible for things like being a lawyer. It's possible for things like being a pilot. Let me go ahead and scan it.
Oh, maybe not. This is the only, yeah, that's the only one we have.
Okay, well, let me check and see if they want to, it might be able to replace it.
Right.
If not, I'll just stick it right here.
Yeah, I'll put it up.
Okay.
I mean, I'll put these.
All right. Thank you. So But yeah, there's certain things that of course, you can't do, but well, and even saying can't is not a good idea. It's just that probably you shouldn't, just for the sake of other people, safety if you care about human beings. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the other thing is that, a lot of that, if taken from a certain perspective, can be supported and fueled, and you should have a lot of impetus to be able to do that and do things like that when you are progressively realizing a worthy ideal. A lot of the fear that people have of doing anything comes from actually a lack of direction and a lack of self-awareness and a lack of self-esteem and confidence in themselves, which comes from not really being about anything. It comes from just about not having any pursuits, not having any kind of goals or aims, or really, like I said, it's not being about anything. And if you're not about anything, then what are you really living for? Especially if you're taking away from life. If you're out there pulling in resources and you're just a drain and strain on the world, just reconsider. Don't give up, but reconsider what you're doing and be honest with yourself, and then figure out how to move up from there. And that's it. So, and for some reason all of that reminded me of the samurai's code and the Japanese death poems, and just one of the reasons why I'm not afraid of anything, because my position as being a badass doesn't come from thinking that I can beat everybody. It comes from not caring whether I live or die, as long as I'm progressively realizing a worthy ideal. As long as I'm doing something that I feel is noble, and I continue to check myself and make sure that I'm not deluding myself that what I'm doing is noble, that I'm doing good things and I'm contributing to the world, then where should I fear? I have none. And that's it.